exposing the myths behind the Quran and Bible similarities. Let's dive in. The Quran and Bible share many stories, but does that mean one was copied from the other? This question has intrigued scholars, theologians, and believers for centuries. To understand the relationship between these two sacred texts, we need to delve deeper into their origins, contexts, and the nature of their similarities and differences. Let's break it down. The Quran, revealed to the Prophet Muhammad in the 7th century, is considered by Muslims to be the final and most complete revelation from God. The Bible, on the other hand, is a collection of texts written over centuries, encompassing the Old and New Testaments. While the Quran and Bible share some narratives, their contexts and purposes are distinct. First, it's important to note that the first Arabic translation of the Bible came centuries after the Prophet Muhammad's death. This fact alone challenges the notion that the Quran could have been directly copied from the Bible. The Quran was revealed in Arabic, a language that was not widely used for biblical texts until much later. From an Islamic perspective, the similarities between these texts are because both are believed to come from the same divine source. Muslims believe that God sent multiple prophets throughout history, each with a message tailored to their specific communities. The Quran is seen as the culmination of these messages, preserving the core teachings while correcting what Muslims believe to be human alterations in previous scriptures. Over time, the transmission and interpretation of the Bible led to changes in its stories. The Bible, having been written and compiled over many centuries, has undergone numerous translations and revisions. These changes have resulted in variations in the narratives and teachings found within its pages. For instance, in the Quran, Eve is not blamed for the fall. This is a significant departure from the biblical account, where Eve's actions lead to the original sin. In the Quran, both Adam and Eve are equally responsible for their disobedience, and both are forgiven by God. Unlike the Bible, which highlights human flaws in prophets, the Quran depicts prophets as infallible. This difference reflects the Quran's emphasis on the moral and spiritual integrity of God's messengers. Prophets in the Quran are portrayed as exemplary figures, free from major sins, who guide their communities with wisdom and righteousness. Think of David and Bathsheba, Lot and his daughters, or Noah's drunkenness. These stories are in the Bible but absent in the Quran. The Quran's portrayal of prophets serves to reinforce their role as ideal models of faith and conduct. Some stories are unique to each scripture. The Bible contains narratives and characters that are not mentioned in the Quran, and vice versa. This uniqueness highlights the distinct purposes and contexts of each text. The Bible mentions Isaiah, a major prophet in the Old Testament, whose prophecies are central to the Jewish and Christian traditions. The Quran, on the other hand, talks about Moses and Al-Qadir. Moses is a prominent figure in both the Bible and the Quran, but the story of Al-Qadir, a mysterious and wise figure who imparts profound lessons to Moses, is unique to the Quran. The Quran also attributes 3 miracles to Jesus that aren't found in the Bible. These include speaking as an infant, creating a bird from clay, and healing the blind and lepers. These miracles underscore the Quran's recognition of Jesus as a significant prophet, though not divine, as in Christian belief. Despite these differences, both scriptures emphasize core values like dignity, kindness, and charity. These shared values reflect the universal principles that underpin both faiths, encouraging followers to lead lives of compassion and integrity. However, their theological views diverge significantly, especially on God, Jesus, salvation, crucifixion, and original sin. The Quran emphasizes the oneness of God, Tawhid, and rejects the concept of the Trinity. Jesus is revered as a prophet, not the Son of God, and his crucifixion is denied, with the Quran stating that he was not crucified, but raised to heaven. The Bible, in contrast, presents Jesus as the Son of God and central to the concept of salvation through his crucifixion and resurrection. These theological differences have profound implications for the beliefs and practices of Muslims and Christians. So was the Quran copied from the Bible? Not quite. The similarities likely stem from a shared divine origin, but differences in transmission and interpretation crafted unique narratives. The Quran and Bible, while sharing some common ground, are distinct in their messages, purposes, and contexts. The Quran's emphasis on the infallibility of prophets, its unique stories, and its theological perspectives set it apart from the Bible. Understanding these differences helps us appreciate the richness and diversity of religious traditions. Curious about more? The study of religious texts is a vast and fascinating field, offering insights into the beliefs, values, and histories of different cultures. By exploring these texts, we can gain a deeper understanding of the human quest for meaning and the divine. Hit that like and subscribe button for deeper dives into fascinating topics. Join us as we continue to explore the intersections of faith, history, and culture. Your journey into the world of religious studies is just beginning.